Welcome everybody for another episode on Flutter Explained. Today I have the pleasure to talk with Majid, one of the community leader. He's a GDE. He talks at every different event that I'm at, and he's organizer on the Fluttercon today, and he is already organizing the next event, I hear it. So he's quite one of the busiest men on earth, I guess. And you are even DevRel on Invertase, right? So
Yeah, right.
It's even more than that. So please, Majid, introduce yourself.
Thank you for inviting me for the for this interview for your channel. I mean, it's a pleasure to be here and warm welcome again. Thank you. Hello everyone. My name is Majid. I am a Flutter community lead. I've been in this community for like about 5 years, and I try to do my best to like kind of create a warm and welcoming community. At least contribute my my own thing to it, let's say. And as well as I'm also a Google Developer Expert for Flutter, and I'm also head of DevRel at Invertase. So yes, as you said, busy.
So fantastic. So my first question would be, because most of the people will be interested, so how can we all support you in your work? For example, if you organize the next big event, so how can we support you the best way?
Well, that's a good question. So I guess events are one thing, and I do other things also in the community that I'd like to also point out that right now, since you brought up support. So events, of course, like, it's great to see everyone's in person, and nothing can beat a meeting like you and hug you and talk to you. Online are also good, but this is a great way that we can connect and make a strong bond. And in general, I guess having these bonds in the community helps the community grow. And so if you are like anywhere in the world and you're trying to like build an event locally, I mean, don't look at like these big ones. I guess it's also good that you do something small in your local community and try to make that even there. What we can do to support each other though is like to learn from our experience. So what I can say from my side is, if you're doing any kind of event in your local community and you need some advice, maybe help, maybe you need some support emotionally or different ways, I mean, you can always reach out to us or me personally, and I know that other Flutter community members are also very welcoming. So this is the way that we can actually share, and also share your passion about the community, the events that you are doing. Word of mouth, retweeting, resharing on LinkedIn, or creating blogs, sharing posts, these are all helping to support. There is one more thing that I'd like to mention, is about helping each other to grow the community in general. So we have a lot of open source packages, let's say open source software that so in fact it's funny, like yesterday in this event we had a Q&A, and people were asking like, how can we contribute to open source? I mean, sometimes it's about asking and how can you do that, but sometimes it's not about this, it's about taking an action. So small contribution matters. Just find like whatever package you use. If you find a bug, if there isn't, even opening an issue on GitHub with a great example that someone can reproduce, it's a type of contribution. I think this is the type of support that we can give to each other as authors of the packages, maintainer of the packages, as well as someone who is using these packages. So I guess the kind of support that I like to see is like, not just talking about how can I do that, just take an action, just go open an issue, or maybe try to answer an issue, maybe try to send a small PR just to fix a typo. I mean, this all matters. I mean, a small contribution matters. Don't always think that you need to start big. Think big, this is what I do, but take an action in small steps.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes matter, right? So that you can deliver something. That's very good advice. Thank you so much. Next question would be, maybe you had now, well, you Simon and Greg organized the whole event here, right? So you were like very busy, I can imagine. So what was the roadmap to get here? Like, was that on like directly an idea? Let's make Fluttercon with DroidCon together and put everyone inside. I mean, it's like 2,000 people here. it's quite an achievement. So congratulations on that first.
Thank you.
And the question stays the same. How did you manage to get here?
So I have to mention that, well, the hard work was done with Greg, by Greg and with his team, so a DroidCon team. So the conference, DroidCon, was around for many years, and Greg and his team are doing that professionally for years. So it was like, I think 2 years ago. I'm not going to ruin the keynote of Greg because he actually talked about his story.
True.
So hopefully you come back to DroidCon channel and watch the keynote. So he mentioned how we get together. But I can briefly mention, it was around 2 years ago, me and Simon and Greg, we went to some restaurants in London, and we started dreaming about having a big conference. So I ran my own conference, Flutter Vikings, after that. So we thought that maybe we should do it after that because Flutter Viking at the time was in the schedule planned. So, and Greg was very kind to let Flutter Viking happen. And then after that, we started thinking, how should we now do a bigger one and make it maybe a big event for the entire community, somewhere easy to access, somewhere that people can easily reach. And we had our weekly meeting, believe it or not, for I don't know how many months. Every Tuesday, me, Simon, and Greg were meeting, and we discussed how we can involve communities, how we can have CFPs, how we made this, program. We had a great contribution from our program committee, lots of discussion, and all of the experience that three of us had, we kind of put it together to make an event like this one, Fluttercon, to make it one of the biggest so far. And as you can see, I think around 700-ish Flutter developers are here, and more than 1,300 or 1,400 Android. So together, more than 2,000 people are around right now. Very big conference. I hope you will come next year as well. And that's the result.
Yeah, so you can be very proud. I'm super happy with the event. It was really great. So, but besides of all that community work, I mean, you are really everywhere. That's crazy. But besides of that, you are also writing code, right? You're really contributing in open source. You're writing in, I think, as Invertase now. And I have to ask, of course, also for the products of Invertase, because I hear that Globe was quite new released now.
Yeah.
And I would like to hear what it is, how it works, and why it is so special.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Invertase, what we do, so we are one of the first companies in Flutter and Dart community that we're trying to find the gaps in Dart and Flutter community regarding technology. And our aim is to bring the latest, the greatest technology, bleeding edge technology to Flutter and Dart community as well, and try to find what is missing here, so to build something around it. So we have different products. We have packages like Melos for monorepo in Dart. We try to improve it every day. We have Zap.run, which is an in-browser editor to build Flutter applications. And we have other product, custom links, and lots of others that you can check out our website, invertase.io. But one of the latest that we are focusing right now is Globe. And you can find it on globe.dev. So the idea, what's the problem? The problem is, well, the Flutter and Dart community is growing very fast.
True.
Dart is a great language. So once you are writing your code in Flutter for multi-platform, there is nothing stops you to write your Dart code for server or backend as well, running your Dart on server. So this problem was raised a few years ago in the community, and I was also one of those who are pushing this, to the community, that Dart is also good for, servers. We can use that. So slowly some frameworks, libraries, for backend is popping up, and they're coming up, and all good, fantastic. So, well, at least the backend frameworks are getting mature in the community. Good, but there's still one problem that I personally see is how can you deploy and scale and manage these backends, right? If you look at service providers, cloud providers, and others, so some of them don't have really great support for Dart. Some of them they have, but you need to learn a lot about infrastructure and or cloud architecture. So then you can deploy. And it's not just about deployment; it's about a lot of like pipeline of deployment, like maintenance, duplication, replication, edge networking, CDN, or scaling up, scaling down, load balancer, and whatnot, right? So Globe is about to solve the infrastructure architecture problem for Dart developers. So you don't really need to focus on the infrastructure. You just focus on your Dart code, build your backend, and at some point you can even deploy your Flutter web. I will talk about that later. So then just once you're done with your backend, just use the CLI, for example, or even dashboard, connect it to your GitHub. Every push you make, every PR you open, every time you say globe deploy command, then you don't need to do anything. It's just one command that you write, and we take care of the entire infrastructure.
Great.
And upload and deploy your application and give you a domain, a subdomain, and you can even assign your own domain. SSL, everything will be taken care. And the good thing is that we also distribute your backend into 300 nodes around the world. Like if it's, in this case, if it's a stateless function, let's say, you have a function, you want to just return some kind of result to your customer in the fastest way. So we have these network of edge network around the world using some of the providers, for example, Cloudflare. So where your function is going to be deployed to, as I said, so many nodes around the world, cities. And if you make a request from Berlin right now, the closest node to Berlin will respond quickly to your customer. So there is no round trip around the world. We try to fix this, request and respond latency.
Nice.
And there are, of course, missing points here. What about database? How can I make HTTP requests inside the function and so on? How can I deploy my monolith? These are all work in progress. This is just a baby step where we're trying to, right now do and fix problems one by one. There's a lot left yet that we need to do, but we love to hear feedback as well. What is the priority? Is it database a priority, or just function, or monolith, or maybe distributing, let's say, a modular code base? So we're trying to solve, at the end of the day, the infrastructure, let's say, architecture for any Dart backend. And the platform has been designed just to be adopt Dart as a first citizen. So everything will be around Dart and Flutter ecosystem in the platform.
Nice.
And I have to also mention, we have these similar products in other communities, like JavaScript, for example. We have Vercel, we have other products similar. We have Heroku, many of you may have heard about it. So it's just similar approach, but none of them really are easy for Dart developers. We try to replicate that and make it easy for Dart and Flutter developers.
Sounds amazing. So to all of you who have a Dart or a Dart shelf package installed and you want to have your server running, I think that sounds like a pretty amazing option. So it will support probably also Conduit and all the frameworks like Serverpod. I think should be very important. So cool. Can't wait to use that. So I will put a link down in the video description to Globe, but there will be also a wish list at the moment, right? It's going onto a waiting list. So can't wait to be accepted there. And if you want to test it, you will find it out there. All right, but you're not stopping here, right? So the next big adventure, I hear, is a new event where you try to bring two communities together.
Yeah.
Could you say a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So I've been doing these conference organizers or meetups, or being part of these events in different countries and cities. One thing that I've been seeing is so many Flutter developers. So let's say according to some statistics that Tim Smith at some point previously shared, 50% of Flutter developers are using Firebase, which means 50% of us right now kinda in both communities. And we were thinking like, okay, so there should be some way that we connect these two communities. What if we know more people from Firebase community, and what if they want to know us more? You know, there should be a way. We're using the same product. We're using, you know, almost we have the same goal. So there should be a way to connect. And I think one of the best way to connect is to have, as I said, an in-person event. So that's why we came up with Flutter Firebase Festival. As an event. The idea, the goal, the end goal is to connect, to make a bond between two communities. And it's going to happen in Prague in last week of September, 25th and 26th. And we have a cool domain for that. We call this conference actually F3 because it's like Flutter Firebase Festival, like 3F. So we call it F3.events. So you can learn more. We have not released our program yet, but it will hopefully be released very soon, maybe by the time of this video is publishing, so you will see the program as well. And one thing that we really want that happen is to have the price of the ticket as cheap as possible. At the moment, we're selling ticket for 99 euros. If anyone has any problem with this, even this, just reach out to us. We are happy to provide more discount. Maybe I can even give you more discount and you can put it to the description.
Yeah, you can do that.
So, as I said, the goal is to invite everyone, both communities, to connect and make a bond. We don't really mind about the money. I have to admit that our program will be a very nice one, because one track would be Googlers from both Flutter and Firebase team, and one track on the main day would be GDEs, all GDEs. And day 2 is about community. So it's a community day. We still have 2-3 tracks, workshops, and we were thinking to have like even workshops for newcomers. If you absolutely don't know anything about Flutter and Firebase, you're welcome to join. And we're thinking to make them free, but still there are some logistics that we need to figure out. But these are the things that will happen in Prague, hopefully.
So you hear that the next big event will be in Prague. Can't wait for that. All right, the last question that I have. As you know, we have here a very diverse community, very big, a lot of young, motivated Flutter developers. What would be your tip that you would give them away?
Okay, I think, so if you want to really learn Flutter, one thing I can tell you is just to build. Build. I mean, so find the idea, build a Flutter around it, and that's the best way that you can actually experience technology. There are lots of course, good courses, yourself included, and materials that you can find. But at the end of the day, watching, reading does not really add any value if you really don't build afterwards. So I see a lot of people are saying, how can I learn this? Where is the best video? What I introduce, and then a few months later they come back, oh, we watched this, but we still can't, but it's just because they don't really build afterwards. So I guess this is the main thing that I can say. And another one is try to stay in the loop of news and articles, try to subscribe to good channels like his channel, and try to follow good people on different social media. And this is helping that you learn, you absorb, or you get more information as well as good ones. So because something is good, people start sharing, and then you will learn, you will see that, and you will start learning from that as well. I guess this is also the second advice I can mention.
Fantastic. So sharing is caring, right?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right, with that, I would conclude that meeting. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
It was amazing to talk with you, and I cannot wait to see what's next. So yeah, maybe we will see us at Prague again.
Thank you very much, and thank you for watching.
Correct. Bye, and subscribe. Cool.